Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to my weekly podcast series called Encouragement for Your Life. Most of you know I'm a national speaker, trainer, and coach. I like to say I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking, presentation skills, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. I've got a number of other presentations on my website if you'd like to check those out. If your organization has an upcoming conference and you need a keynote speaker, I hope you'll reach out at debsofield.com. I would love to be a part. I've got a number of great books on the market. My best-selling book, Speak Without Fear. My book, Perfecting Your Platform. Both of those are on Amazon and Audible if you like to listen to books. And my series, Encouragement for Your Life, which is a compilation of these podcasts, they're available on Amazon, volumes 1 through 3. Just go into Amazon, type in my name, Deb Sofield, all my books will appear. I've got a great show today, and I'm going to tell you a story that you might know a little bit about, but I'm going to tell you the ending. Friends, my title is this: Everyone Has an Invisible Sign. I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for joining me. Let's get started with today's show. I love the quote from Mary Kay Ash. Yes, the makeup lady. Everyone has an invisible sign hanging from their neck saying, "Make me feel important. Never forget this message when working with people." There's an age-old phenomena that is back in full force today, partly due to social media and partly due to our busyness when it comes to actually seeing those we say we care about. I hate to admit it, but I am guilty of what John Steinbeck said. I wonder how many people I've looked at in my life and have never seen. Wow. It's not on purpose that I have seemingly overlooked others, but I have begun to seriously think about how and why I've become so blinded by my busyness. We know that people in our lives and complete strangers seem and feel invisible, not only to us, but also to themselves when they live alone day in and day out. We are quickly becoming a society that not only overlooks those who are not like us, but also we pass quickly by those who are aging, those who are hurting, those who are ill, even when they are family in one sense or another. Willingly or not, we follow what Hollywood puts on the screen, and we glorify the young, beautiful, and vibrant. But what happens when we cross that invisible line into, unseen, obscure, opaque? This isn't death that I'm talking about, but this action of looking past people, or worse, not even seeing family and friends or co-workers as they care for us, stand beside us, and work with us. It's odd when you think about it, really. When did they become invisible? Did familiarity breed disinterest? Did sameness set aside interest? Did neediness wear down the strong? According to Joseph B. Wirthlin, the more often we see the things around us, even the beautiful and wonderful things, the more they become invisible to us, which is why we often take for granted the beauty of this world, the flowers, the trees, the birds, the clouds, even those we love. Because we see things so often, we see them less and less. I believe age is a hard issue for every generation, but it's hitting the sandwich generation the hardest. I define sandwich generation as those who take care of their parents and now take in and take care of their grown-up, out-of-work kids when they come home with a baby. With regards to aging gracefully, every TV commercial will sell you something to make you and me ageless so we can keep what we've got before it fades away or simply turns to gray. I agree with Mary Kay Ash that everyone we meet has an invisible sign that simply says, "Don't forget me, make me feel important," or acknowledge that I'm still alive. And since they are alive, unknowingly or not, they are asking that we consider or reconsider their value, and that we show them their worth by giving them our time and attention. If that seems too big of an endeavor for you, then consider the words of Tony Robbins, who says, "Setting goals is a first step in turning the invisible into the visible." Believe it or not, you and I might need to set a goal for our time when it comes to friends and family. The fact is, we set goals for other important aspects of our lives, so why not consider this as important as your weekly bridge or golf game? Is it too far off the scale of value? Often I ask my young clients, what is the greatest gift you can give someone? Most say love, to which I reply, whether you see your family or not, they know you love them. So what else would you say? I mean, really, what would your grandparents like to hear from you? After a bit, they usually land on the powerful answer of time. Yeah, I say. Your grandparents would love it if you would just go by and sit with them and maybe take them to eat, but mostly just talk with them and not just at them. You know, when kids see that light come on, it really is a bright, shining light. I don't want this to be a sad message today because I believe we still have time to make right what we choose to do right. And while those we claim to love are still with us, we can create lasting memories again. I love the line by Barbara DeAngelis who says, "Love is a force more formidable than any other. It isn't visible, it cannot be seen or measured, yet it is powerful enough to transform you in a moment and offer you more joy than any material possession ever could." Before I tell you about the story that prompted today's message, I just want to add a note about treating others with respect and kindness. If you were to believe everything you read online, you would think that there's little to no kindness left in the world. But you and I know that's not true. Why? Because we are adding light to the darkness with our kind actions every day. And there are so many people just like us who are concerned about the direction our country is going when it comes to basic courtesy. So friend, let me encourage you to go the extra mile. Make that friendly call. Take the elderly client or friend or teacher out for a cup of coffee. Your hour of time is equal to about a week of good stories they tell themselves and their friends. Listen, we're all busy, but one day we're going to wish someone had taken a few hours for us. Build your goodwill bank now before the hours are taken up by others. You're in charge of your time, really, you are. So you need to make the best of it. Okay, so what prompted my thought about the Mary Kay quote is this. It was a fascinating story I came across in the New York Post about Audrey Munson. And here was the line. She was known as the perfect model, and in her heyday, one headline proclaimed, "All New York bows to the real Miss Manhattan." She earned the name not just because she was the toast of the town in the 1910s, but because of her perfectly proportioned face and body, inspired numerous works of sculpture that still stand in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and the Bronx today. One contemporary account concluded that Audrey Munson posed for more public works than anyone, at least a dozen of which are still on display in the public throughout the city. New Yorkers may not know it, but they see Munson everywhere. Her face and body were the basics for civic fame, the statue that stands atop the municipal building, as well as the figure of Columbia adorning the USS Maine National Monument in Columbus Circle, and the Spirit of Commerce angel at the north base of the Manhattan Bridge. That's her likeness lounging above the front door of the Frick and coyly tucked in a niche outside the New York Public Library's main branch. She is the face of Pomona, the Roman goddess of abundance, on the Pulitzer Fountain at 59th Street and 5th Avenue across from the Plaza Hotel. She was the first supermodel and the first model to have a standing in society, says Diane Roas, co-author of American Venus, The Extraordinary Life of Audrey Munson, Model and Muse. And according to the story, she died alone in an asylum. So what I find so amazing is that as many times as I've been to the city and admired the sculptures, I never really figured they were an actual likeness of one living model. I assumed they were a likeness of friends and family or the ideal woman, not one nameless, forgotten woman. Without a doubt, her story is very sad and curious by any standard. But that is only part of the reason I wanted to bring her to your attention. She is only one of how many people that history has overlooked, set aside, and had their days ended unnoticed and alone. And yet, Audrey still lives on, in a way as she peers out over the city that once lauded her. Now she watches them silently as they go about their business right in front of her every day. Have to admit, I was curious about her story because I love architecture, but also my interest was piqued in another way because, as an elected official, I can think back on all the widows and elderly in my district who had few visitors and leaned on the kindness of neighbors or local church groups or government officials for their visibility and, in a sense, their significance. There's a place for everyone to serve someone if you'll just slow down long enough and look back at those who are looking at you instead of walking past them as if they didn't exist. Dear listener, Mary Kay is right. Everyone has an invisible sign hanging from their neck that says, "Make me feel important." Never forget this message when working with people. Caring for people and loving others as well as you love yourself. I gotta tell you, when I realized that there was a real person behind the statues I see all over the city, have to admit I was blown away. You just walk past, you don't think much of it. But friends, I gotta tell you, is that not amazing to die alone in an asylum with nobody when you were once the toast of the town? So I don't tell you this story to be sad. I tell it to you to remind you, for friend, you need to step into the light to be your amazing self so you can let your light shine on others. And I hope you'll join me next week so we can continue this journey together as we work towards a better day in seeing those who others pass by. And friend, remember, I don't care what the world says about you. I want you to know I care about you because I believe you can do big things. And I'm going to walk alongside you as we follow that dream together. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.